Hi everybody, I'm Dimitri and today I'll be talking with Oliver from Reboot about the challenges an SEO agency faces and how Clockify helped them find their solutions. Alright, as far as I know, Reboot combines technical SEO with digital PR and social media presence. Could you tell me more about the general idea behind Reboot and what's the mission?
Sure. Yeah. So we did start as a technical SEO company over 10 years ago now. And we did a lot of on-site work. We actually did a lot of Google penalty recovery. So people came, they'd been hit with a penalty and dropped out the rankings. We'd help them recover from that. And a lot of the time we were seeing that was caused by the links that they were building, so the backlinks to their site. So off the back of that, we started developing our link building services as well to make sure that our clients were earning links that were going to ultimately get them booted off Google. And then as time went on, digital PR became a big part of that. So we were trying to earn links that not everybody else had. And a big part of that was getting featured in mainstream press, newspapers, trade organizations, that kind of thing. So we started doing digital PR, and then more recently, we've actually started doing paid media and traditional PR as well. So really broadening the service offering just as things evolve on the SEO side. Yeah, trying to get our foot in the door and continue offering services to clients that they wish they need.
All right, so almost 20 years in the business.
I've been at Reboot for about 6-7 years. I think we've had a long evolution. So at least 10 years as an agency. Before that, there were various hardware kind of offers that the CEOs were working on as well.
Okay. That sounds like you guys have come a long way.
Yeah, a lot of changing. It's a fast-paced industry, I think.
I can understand. I mean, with the way things are these days, the first thing that pops up when you search anything on Google is usually an ad. So I can imagine how difficult it is, especially, as you mentioned, people lose their relevancy. So it's pretty admirable that you guys are, putting it out there for people to come back into the public eye, as we can say it like that.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
I looked at your website and I noticed that you guys have a lot of clients, anything from PR for dental agencies to car companies and so on. How do you manage to boost visibility how do you manage to boost visibility and online presence for different industries?
Sure. So we have a few in-house experts. So we've got people in-house that studied law. They've had previous roles in finance, travel, things like that. So they bring a lot of expertise with them. And then we also, a big part of our campaigns involve reaching out to experts in a given industry, getting them to comment on the research we've done or provide tips or advice, things like that. And then the clients themselves are quite a good place to start when it comes to that. They're always experts in their industry themselves. So getting to know a bit about their business, where they've come from, what their unique selling point are, that kind of thing helps a lot as well. And then getting spokespersons, people from their team, can be super useful when you're dealing with something a bit more niche.
Okay, and regarding those niche clients, what's the approach there?
So it depends on the goal of the client. So sometimes they'll come to us, they just want to improve their rankings. They've got keywords, people are searching for a plumber in their area. In that case, we'll tend to start with an audit and just really dive under the hood of their website, the code, the way search engines are finding them and how they're exploring their site, diagnose any issues, look at the competitors. So that's all involved in the initial analysis. And then from there, we can plan what proactive things they need to do, in the months and years ahead to kind of position themselves top for their highest priority keywords. So if that means they need to raise their brand profile, then we might do PR, get them featured across relevant industry publications, things like that. If they need content on site, we'll then divert some time towards that. And then some people come to us, they're a bit more mature. We work with some bigger businesses as well. They've got their own in-house SEO teams. If they know what they need, they know they only need backlinks, for example, then we might run just targeted campaigns to help them achieve that. So that tends to be the process depending on the size of the client.
All right, so there's some nice little organization there. Do you guys depend more on delegation? How do you meet deadlines?
Yeah, it's something we're always improving on. So we recently brought an operations director on board to help with this, but we've had some very organized people in the organization for a while now who have been working on that. Delegation is definitely a big part of it. I think the key of that is having someone at the helm who's organized enough to delegate properly and stay on top of deadlines, keep track of where time's going, how people are interacting with the clients, and if they're touching base enough and kind of discussing things with them as they need to be. Um, so yeah, it is a big part of delegation. And then also we're very data driven. So we've got an in-house data team that likes to find unique data sets for our clients, but also internally, they can help obviously explore how productive we are and recommend ways to improve it as well.
All right. Well, in the past 10 years, I mean, has the industry evolved or changed? And if so, what are the new current difficulties and how do you guys go over them?
Yeah, sure. So Google always rolls out their own updates anyway. So how they actually change what goes into ranking the search results. So that means we're constantly having to change our strategies and evolve to kind of keep clients up to date and in best practice. Technology has obviously come a long way as well. You know, even mobile first wasn't a big thing when we started, whereas it's a lot more important now. So we've done things to develop that side. And then SEOs are quite known for, you know, going after strategies until they don't work anymore. So we've always had to keep a one foot forward, finding new strategies and working to kind of improve, making sure we're already doing the things that every other agency isn't.
Okay. So there's some uniqueness to the works.
Yeah, I think because we come at things from a PR and research approach, we always want to be unique in the approach that we're taking. We don't really do, you know, cookie cutter campaigns. We would like to be more bespoke when we can.
Well, I mean, with clients ranging from dental industries to car companies, I mean, you need to have that kind of balance.
Yeah, flexibility and speed, I think, is key, especially when you're dealing with journalists, which we are a lot. So, yeah, you need to be fast.
Yeah, but website design, I gotta admit, you guys hit the ball out of the park there. It's
Oh,
excellent
thank you.
website design.
Thank you. A lot of time and tears have gone into developing it. So thanks. We appreciate it.
um, so I mean, you guys seem to be experts in combining creativity and research to achieve good results.
Lovely.
Does that take up a lot of time? Could you explain how you keep everything up to standard?
hmm Yeah, I mean, it does. So whenever you deal with clients, you obviously have to account for how much time you can offer each one, and you need to make sure you're delivering on that. But also you need to be careful that it doesn't go, you know, too far and that you're spending too much time on any given client. So yeah, I mean, managing time has definitely always been a huge part of Reboot, but also of agencies in general. So we started originally, we didn't really have any time tracking software or anything like that. Uh, we were in an office at the time. You know, you were sitting next. We were a smaller team. We were about 12 people back in the day. So you're sitting next to your colleagues. You know what they're working on any given day and how much time roughly is being spent on it. And then, really, as we started growing, because we're about 70 or 80 people now, as we started growing, we found that you couldn't keep quite as close, you know, attention to how everyone was spending their time. So yeah, we started kind of exploring ways that we could do that a bit better. Like I said, we've had some very data oriented people in the mix, so they've come up with a load of ideas on how we can improve things and just continue to make things more efficient.
Okay, and before you figured out before you discovered Clockify, how would you say your time management practices were? Were they efficient? Did they leave some room for improvement?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in the early days, we got by okay because you were so close to everyone. You could chat to them, you know, multiple times a day. And I think at one point we did trial, you know, like manual timesheets, Excel files and things like that. And it just was a bit of a non-starter. It was more admin than actually you'd save doing it. So we quickly moved against that. So yeah, it was very manual. There could be a lot could have been improved at the time. And then the bigger we got, the more it became a pressing need as well.
Hmm. Okay, and how did you come across Clockify? I mean, did you search time tracking apps for 2022 or something like that, and then
Yeah,
Clockify came up?
thereabouts. One of our team started searching for software providers. Literally, they typed in time tracking tools into Google, got a list, and then just reviewed them across things like, you know, price, features, reviews, things like that. And yeah, Clockify came out top, so we decided to go with you guys.
Okay. What sold you? I mean, what features or any special kind of activity that you can do in Clockify that other, time trackers couldn't really meet the standard?
Yeah, I mean, I think we trialed it, and the intuitiveness was very easy. It was easy to use, which was a big thing because, if you have a decent sized team, not everyone's going to be willing to learn how to do some more advanced software stuff. So having a tool that people can just jump into and get going with was important, and that was the case with Clockify. Obviously, the Chrome plugin, I think you integrated with Trello, who we're using, so that was another big bonus. So yeah, those were the kind of initial selling points of Clockify, and then as we used it more, there were some others that popped up along the way as well.
What sort of quality of life features did Clockify provide apart from integration and the simple UI? Not simple, but easy to use UI, as you've mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, one, in an agency, we discussed at the beginning a bit, burnout is a thing. And if you're actually spending too much time working on client accounts, it can lead to stress. You're overworked, you're tired, you're not as creative, which is a big issue if you're a creative agency. So I've found by balancing, how much time we're spending on a given client, we can provide some guidelines to our team on how long they should spend on any given client. They don't have that issue as much anymore. So the quality of life, I suppose, of the employees at Reboot has gone up quite dramatically. And then it's also good data to have to share with clients so they can be confident that they're getting their money's worth. They know where their hours are going. That's quite a good benefit as well.
Okay, so it's the transparency that kind of brought you to Clockify. Okay, that's good to hear. I mean, I didn't really know much about, this whole industry until I joined Cake.com. And, it didn't take me more than about a month to get to know the ropes with everything, basically. I remember when we were doing some onboarding for some things like, I think, scheduling or reporting. And what struck me was that you could share it with external partners. How often do you find yourself sharing your reports with external shareholders or clients?
Yeah, quite a lot. So it's really nice to be able to export what you need. You can get the data, you can provide it directly however you want to the client. But even on Zoom calls, be able to share the screen and actually show that you've got the data to hand is quite a big thing. I would say it's even helped us grow client accounts as well, because we can demonstrate that we're spending more time than we should be already to keep a certain level of service. You can then show why we need more hours to obviously pour more energy and more resource into the client campaign. So even in terms of business development, it's been helpful, which was unexpected. We thought it was just going to be, internal use.
Okay. So collaboration definitely is it's a better bridge using that. Okay, but that's reporting and sharing reports. What about features like, let's say, managers or team managers or project managers? How do you guys find yourself in that realm?
Yeah, that was actually something we needed to work on when we first started using the tool, because we had campaigns which would pull from multiple teams. So we had content editors, we had data researchers, data analysts, we had technical SEOs on the one hand. So we had all these different teams that were spending time on an account, but they wouldn't always coordinate and know how much time had been spent on certain tasks. So they couldn't essentially account for that in their own billing, their own kind of project planning. So when we had a tool like Clockify, and you can actually see between the teams what other people were spending their time on, we could report back on, how much the data team had spent on a client on a given month. And then we could channel that to the content team and, tune up or dial down the amount of time spent on that side if needed. And then obviously on the top level management point of view, account directors being able to see how much time the whole team is spending on an account is super important as well. So it's been very helpful in that regard.
That's really nice to hear. So regarding other features, what have you noticed that your colleagues use the most, apart from the time tracker?
The Pomodoro feature was particularly well received. I think it ties back to that work-life balance, that avoiding burnout, and also keeping productive. that was super useful. And a lot of people have said internally about how useful it's been to be able to set themselves those smaller increments of time to get some tasks completed, but then actually take a step back and have a little break as well throughout the day. So I'd say that's been very useful. The expensing, again, we would use that manually as well. So we're saving time. We're putting it directly into this tool as well. The integration, I think I mentioned before, we were using Trello. So the fact that we could integrate directly with the project management tool was super useful as well. Meant we weren't doubling up on, pulling data between one tool into the other. It was very useful for that.
Okay, that's nice. I'm glad to hear that there's a bunch of functionality that your agency can kind of move around and dance with. Aside from the time tracking and making sure that everyone's working on their assignments, who and why would you recommend? I mean, why would you recommend Clockify, and to whom?
I think it's definitely given peace of mind to senior leadership team at Reboot, because you suddenly know a lot more about where the time in any given day is going across the company. So you're reassured by the fact that it's going to the right places, and you can make decisions off the back of that as well. Interestingly, we were keen to trial a 4-day work week. We'd read a study about it working. I think it was in Iceland. We read the study, it was working, and we wanted to try that. Clockify actually allowed us to test that. So we ran this 4-day trial for about a 6-month period. We'd been gathering time tracking data and results for the 6 months before, and we could compare like for like if productivity went up. And it did. We're on a 4-day work week permanently now. So we couldn't have really tested that properly without the tool. And again, part of our foundation comes back to testing things. We want to be data led. So that was an unforeseen benefit outside of the time tracking. Suddenly the work-life balance at the company is a lot better because we've been able to kind of prove that concept. So yeah, that's definitely added value as well.
Where do you see Reboot in the near future? What sort of plans do you guys have in the upcoming future?
So we're still growing. We've gone from 12 to 80 people team size in about 4 years, I'd say, or so. Like it's gone quick, and we don't want to slow down. We're working with bigger brands. We're working with more brands. We're seeing the impact that we're having on their work. So we're looking to continue that growth. A big part of that is, we're launching these new services, paid media, traditional PR as well, to complement the SEO work we're doing. So I think doing more of that and really carving out our expertise in that area. Productivity is a big push for us. I mentioned before, we've hired an operations director who's come in and made some great changes already. So he'll be pulling on tools like Clockify to improve things in that direction, because there's a lot of things we can do further still. Get the most out of those 4 days in each week. And then, yeah, we also have some clients internationally now as well. We used to be quite UK focused. We're now working with people in the Netherlands, in Germany, in the US. So we'll be looking to just take on more brands internationally as well, and really carve out our expertise in those areas as well.
Okay. Well, the growth seems to be consistent, so I'm looking forward to see what's more to come. But regarding your clients and the industries that you guys help out of all of them, which one seems to be the one that garners the most attention, or the one that is a surefire? Just it's gonna work.
Yeah, I think e-commerce seems to be a big one. There's a ton you can do on the public relations side with products. You can do product stunts, or you can do research pieces into how people are buying and using certain products. And we always do very well with e-commerce clients. And there's a lot you can do on the technical SEO side as well for those brands. And travel, for similar reasons, seems to do quite well. We've been working with a lot of travel brands. I think it's the consumer focus that does quite well. SEO can work for B2B, but it tends to be a lot more niche and channeled, whereas those e-commerce and those travel brands seem to have a bigger market to kind of tap into. So those are definite areas we're looking to kind of pursue a bit further as well.
How do you guys manage social media and that kind of outreach? Do you also include that apart from your SEO work, or is there some other secret to it?
We do social media for our clients when it's beneficial to their broader marketing goals. It's not for everyone. We do have very niche very niche B2B brands that, their budget's a lot better funneled into organic and paid search. But part of the kind of paid media offering we're doing now involves obviously meta advertising, LinkedIn, things like that. So there's a big organic social pool there. And then on the PR side, these days, if you're not getting attention on social media, journalists don't pay much attention either. So that's a big part of what we do as well. We're quite active on Twitter, on Reddit, Facebook, TikTok, of course, to get the ball rolling on campaigns and to get some attention on there initially, even to find sources for certain studies and things like that. That can be useful.
Okay. So it depends really on the client.
Yeah, we always
what kind of business they have.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's nice to have a little bit of a personal touch always, because you can't really treat any industry the same way. I mean,
no,
we're comparing dental offices and car companies and law firms, so I can imagine that you need to have a wide range of not options, but not situations. I forgot the word.
Approaches. I think people
thank you.
People have different budgets as well, so you want to tailor you want to get the most impact for the budget that works for them, which involves different strategies each time.
How has Clockify helped you organize these strategies more effectively to reach those deadlines?
Yeah, so we know internally, what our kind of rate cards are. So we know how much we should be charging for each service. And all that means is when a client comes to us with a very specific budget in mind, we can work out using Clockify data that we've had previously, how much a project should cost ultimately. So we can break down the hours across each channel, and we can know whether social media is an option or not, or we can know whether paid search is a feasible approach here, and tailor the strategy we recommend to obviously the budget that the client has. But we couldn't do any of that without time tracking data.
Yeah, because you need to send them invoices with all of your billed hours, and it's accurate, and like we mentioned before, it's transparent. So I can imagine how that kind of helps benefit. It helps ease the process a little bit.
Yeah, and I think as well, if you're not measuring how long things take, you tend to find that the amount of time creeps up over time. They take longer. Whereas if you know roughly how much, how long a repeatable task should take, you can provide that to new hires. Someone joins the company, you can actually tell them roughly how long something should take based on previous people doing it. You can obviously, account for someone being new at a certain task, and you can increase it a little bit, but you can have a good idea of actually how long people should spend on given tasks. And if you're not tracking that, then as I say, it could take as long as you like, really. You could always spend more time.
You mentioned interns. So new people that come to the company, and how are they onboarded? I mean, how does the process there look?
So they obviously come in knowing roughly what the role entails, what kind of tasks and responsibilities will be in the mix there. And then when they come in, really, we first want to get them involved in Reboot as a culture, what we do, what we're about, what our values are. And they're quite quickly brought up to speed on that just by being dropped into all the Slack channels or the company meetings. We like to do socials when possible in person to get that across as well. From there, they'll start being introduced to client accounts, who the clients are, what their business is about and what they sell, what they do. Maybe campaigns we've run for them in previous years that have worked, ones that haven't done so well and why they haven't done so well. And then they can finally start taking on some of the account work themselves and start being introduced to the clients and liaising with them, putting together campaign work. Depending on the role, that will differ whether they're doing research or whether they're writing content, or carrying technical audits. And then, we grow from there, really. We look at who's good at, what, and we try and obviously bring out the skills that people are naturally good at and find a place for that. In public relations, people have varying interests. So some people are better for, niche B2B campaigns. Their interests just align with that if they're interested in business. Other people, they love travel, they love shopping. They might be more geared towards those e-commerce clients, those travel brands as well.
Okay, and tell me what's the best way to generate, natural traffic or it's called natural traffic, right? I didn't get it.
Yeah, so okay. Organic traffic, natural. So you're not paying for it, I suppose. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So There's a few ways. You can obviously do social media, which you mentioned, which is not the main area we specialize in. The alternative is, if you want to get in front of people that you know are already searching for your business or your product or your service, organic traffic through SEO is the best way to do that. People already searching on Google for your product, essentially, so you can get in front of them. To do that, usually you just want to build a really good website. SEOs like to overcomplicate it in many respects, but a lot of it does just come down to building a really helpful and high quality website. You're not overdoing things. You're not, it's not spammy. It should be useful. It should be engaging. People should want to come back to it and recommend their friends to it, things like that. And from that, you'll see people are spending longer on it. People are clicking through when they do see it in the search results, and that's going to slowly over time, directly or indirectly, help you rank higher. And then the third part of that is you need other websites in the industry to be linking to you. And you do that by doing genuine partnerships, by providing value to other people in the industry. And eventually they're going to be okay recommending you to their own audience. And, that has its benefits as well.
So there's a lot of bridges to cross, huh?
Yeah, there's a few different areas to cover. And it takes time as well, especially if you're in competitive industries. There's only one top position at the end of the day and everyone's going after it.
You mentioned backlinks. How do you generate successful backlinks for your clients?
Sure. So we do what's known as digital PR a lot, which is, we'll do a lot of research into your industry and pull out key insights that journalists and that people haven't heard before. Maybe there's some new data where across your country, certain regions in that country are particularly interested in a trending topic. And we can draw attention to that and show how that's the case. We then have journalists that will pick that up and end up linking to our client sites off the back of it. So we're providing something new, essentially, or we're partnering with other people in the space to provide their readers and their audience some value. That tends to be the approach we take. You will find a lot of other strategies being used in SEO, some not so good, some very good. But that tends to be the one that we see has the most success.
Okay. I've learned a lot about SEO today. I've realized that it's not really for everybody, but I want to say thank you for allowing me to be your host and to ask you and talk to you about this. And Reboot seems to be a very, I don't want to say promising because you've already been here for a while, but I'm excited to see the future projects that you guys have. And I'm looking forward to talking to you again, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thanks for your time as well. It'd be nice hearing about you guys and some of the stuff you're doing.
Thank you, Oliver. Thank you all for watching our latest episode, and be sure to check out our socials for new content. See ya.